Casino creep. I've worked a graveyard shift as a cashier at a rather large Indian casino and resort for years, and I've met my fair share of creepy tweakers and nasty old men. You get used to it after a while, and learn to brush it off, with the comfort of knowing that you're always on camera, and there are plenty of armed security guards milling around, looking for something to do. In all the years in which I have worked there, I'd only ever truly been freaked out by, I guess, once. He was there often, a regular. I guess he had some sort of mental disability. Not really sure what it was, but there was clearly something off about him. He was probably in his early 30s, already balding, and often averted his eyes when spoken to. He had grandparents that would sometimes come in with him, but usually just dropped him off at the casino whenever they had things to do. He would try to make small talk with the cashier sometimes when he would cash out his tickets, but never more than a few words at a time, until he started in with the compliments. They started out innocent enough. "I like your hair," always directed at either me or another cashier named Tracy. Now, me and Tracy don't look alike, but we are both bigger girls and have similar features that this guy was apparently attracted to. Moving on, the compliments got progressively weirder. "I like your fingernails," or "I like your eyelids." The compliments led to some laughs and lots of Silence of the Lambs skin suit jokes from coworkers. We laughed too, and then brushed it off like every other creepy comment we get. Then one day, the guy walks up to my window and says, "Hi, Cherry, what size shoes do you wear?" I was thrown off by the new nickname, and immediately threw out a random number as all the skin suit jokes came flooding back. Although I was sufficiently creeped out, I still wasn't really feeling threatened, you know? I tried to appear busy when the guy would approach my window, but as I am stuck in a cage while I'm at work, I couldn't exactly run and hide. Unfortunately, the nickname stuck, and the creepy guy continued to call me Cherry, and the worst compliments kept coming. I tried to talk to some of my supervisors about the situation, but they found it too funny to see me cringe at his approach, and assured me I was not in any real danger, that the guy was just socially awkward and harmless, until the comments finally went overboard. One night, I was cashing out creepy guest tickets when he looked me straight in the eye and said, "Do you like to be tied up?" "Excuse me?" I said, completely dumbfounded. "I'm gonna tie you up." I just stared at him, alone in my cage, and unable to think of a response. He broke eye contact after what felt like forever, started laughing loudly, and walked away from my window. That was the last straw. The casino manager was informed, and it came out that there was a girl in the beverage department that he had also been harassing. The worst part is that because his grandparents spent quite a bit of money in the casino on the regular, all he got was a stern talking to by the casino manager. Luckily for me, they came a lot less after the incident, and eventually stopped coming in altogether. So, creepy casino dude, glad you didn't come in anymore, and let's never meet again. The Gambler. I am a blackjack dealer at a tribal casino in Oklahoma. I have been a dealer for 13 years. In that time, I have seen some scary people, but none of them stand out more than this guy. This guy is a scary guy. I'm not easily intimidated by anyone, but he was about 6'2", medium build, dirty blonde hair, big scar on his cheek, and reeks of Bud Light and Winston cigarettes. He had a wife that always came in with him, and she always seemed to have fallen into something face first. He's a typical redneck asshole. Not only was he mean to his wife, he was hateful to everyone he encountered. I saw it with my own eyes. One day, I was dealing to him, and it wasn't going very well. I think I'd taken like $2,000 of his money or something like that, and that's when he started calling on me things I wouldn't call my dog. When we encounter verbal abuse like that, we are allowed to have our pit boss have him removed from the tables. My pit boss is a woman, and he says, "I don't let no woman tell me what to do." As security is walking him off the tables, he looks me dead in the eyes and says, "You better watch your back, and I'll get my $2,000 from his ass one way or another." After the altercation, he was banned, but only for about 30 days. Sure enough, after the 30 days, he is back in and on my next table. I asked my boss if I can avoid the table because of our past altercations, you know? My boss tells me he will keep an eye on him and I will be fine. I get to the table and he just stares me down. I start dealing and he is winning. About 20 minutes into my 30 minutes on the table, he says to me, "Boy, Am I glad you're paying me? 'Cause I have a knife in my boot, and I was planning on stabbing your ass. After my 30 minutes was up, I immediately notified my boss what he said. Security was notified. They take him to the back, and sure enough, he has an 8-inch Bowie knife in his boot. This time, he will be given a lifetime ban. You're never truly alone in Vegas. For some background information, we were all mid-20s girls from the Midwest. The first of my friends was getting married, so naturally, a bunch of us went to Las Vegas for a bachelorette party. Having never been to Vegas before, we were having a blast. The story begins on our last night out. We were at a pool party this day, and one of the girls, Brittany, got plastered. She had to be taken home and put to bed, so she didn't make it out that night. We actually had 2 rooms on 2 different floors, one on the 16th floor and one on the 6th floor. She stayed in the room on the 6th. There was a DJ playing a show at our hotel that night, and it was decided that we'll all go there for convenience. The maid of honor was one of those people that knew everyone, one way or another, and an old friend was a promoter for this club. He was able to not only get us in free, but get a table with free bottle service as well. We all thought that this was the most amazing thing ever, and took advantage of free drinks, as many as you know, Vegas is expensive. One of the girls, Danielle, and I go to the bathroom, and by the time that we make it back to the table, our party has been dispersed. The bouncer dropped us like a hot potato and told us, "This isn't your table anymore. Someone bought it." We were bummed, because not only did we have to go to the general peasant area, but we were now all split up. Everyone was drunk and not really responding to texts, and it was too loud to make a phone call at the moment. Hoping the rest of the girls were together, me and Danielle stayed and enjoyed the concert until about 2 a.m. in the morning before walking back to our rooms. She was staying in the 6th floor and I was on the 16th floor. We split up on the elevator to go to our separate rooms, but mine was already occupied by the 4 of the girls, all passed out. I called Danielle and told her I was coming downstairs, but she warned me that Megan was in the room crying hysterically and she's not sure what happened. As I get down to their room, we learn the truth. Still, one of the scariest things to happen to someone I know. As told by Megan, I was enjoying the concert until I got split up from everyone. I decided to walk back to the room. As I was very tired, I got to the elevator with several people, and I was the only one that got off on my floor, or so I thought. I walked to the end of the hallway, and as I put my keycard in the door, a man comes sprinting down the hall and tackles me into the room. The door shut behind us. He climbed onto me and punched me in the face several times and tried to knock me out. All of a sudden, Brittany, who was asleep in the room, wakes up out of nowhere and yells, "What the fuck?" She gets up and starts kicking the man. He thought Megan was alone, so he naturally freaked out and ran out the room. Her blood was all over the wall. When I got to the room, hotel security came and said something that gave me the chills. We were able to watch him on our cameras follow you the whole way through the casino. And on the elevator, he got up pretending to go the opposite direction, just until you opened your room door, then he charged. The whole time you were walking, he was just behind you, watching you like a hawk. It definitely seemed like he knew what he was doing. Thank God for my other friend not making out that night, because Megan truly could have been alone and trapped in that hotel room with that guy. Also, the police never did find him. Weird guy decided it was okay to open the door to my car. This happened a few months ago in Canada, while I was waiting for my mom to come out to drive her home at a casino's entrance. While waiting for my mom, while I cuddled in the comfort of my own car, I saw this guy standing by the side, keep eyeing me while I eyed him, as I was a bit nervous. After a few minutes, for some unknown reason, he decided that it would be okay to come over and open the door to my car, despite I do not know him at all, and we were strangers to each other. As I watched it happen, I was thinking to lock my doors, but I decided to listen to my intuition, believing it would be safe, and to not lock it. Stupid, maybe? When he came over and opened the door, while in my nervous state, I quickly, and if not a bit loudly, said, "I wasn't looking at you," and he quickly closed the door and left me alone. See, the thing is, I'm not sure if he heard me right, or if you're just surprised by my reaction based on his expression at the time, making him close the door or whatnot, but still, it was a weird but creepy experience. Thinking back on it right now, I question myself, why didn't I just lock my doors anyways? Player lost money, tries to kill blackjack dealer. Me. Our casino was on an Indian reservation, and you have to take a ferry to get there and vice versa. Our shift ended at 2 a.m., and we boarded the ferry at 2:30 a.m. There's a Russian dealer who needed a ride home, and I would give it to her. We get off the ferry and it's cold outside and unusually dark. The water has wakes on the lake, and the ferry ride was tumultuous. The Russian girl, Christina, is about 28 years old, and I am about 31 years old. I'm going to take her home, but I had to get an anniversary card for my husband. We have a Smith's Grocery that is open 24 hours. I get out of the car and she goes with me. I remember feeling like someone was watching me. Now mind you, this is a small town, and it wasn't like the parking lot was full by any means. It was just a feeling in retrospect. I find the perfect card, and by this time it's near 3 a.m. I am driving her home, which is way up this super high street, to get to her house. It's right here, completely dark and left here, and her house is based up against the wash. In the desert, the house is backed up against the wash in this neighborhood, and which there are more expensive houses, but it's also completely pitch black. I drop off Christina and start to head back home. I zigzag out of the area of her housing, and I'm driving down that long road downwards. Now mind you, it's about 3 a.m. or so in the morning, and small town with snowbirds, so there's really nobody outside. I'm driving down the road at this moment, and at the midpoint of the long stretch, there's a stop sign. I stop, and when I look up in my rearview mirror, there is this car, veering down the hill, towards mine, going 55 miles per hour on a 35 mile per hour road. I was like, this guy isn't even stopping. He's gonna ram right into me. I just had enough time to go forward and rear to the right as quick and as hard as I could, because I got the sick feeling that this guy meant business. As I'm veering right, he's blasting past me, and he veers to right to slam into me. While he's doing this at a high rate of speed, his car starts swerving only on the right side of the two wheels, and he loses control and starts screeching, trying to resume control of his truck. He's able to get off control of his truck after swerving right screeching, and then left screeching again. I'm in a minivan. My house's street has 2 points of entry. I immediately start driving forward and take a right, and he's entered the other point taking a right. I am freaking the fuck out. His point of entry has a bend, which would mean it would take him longer to see me. So I turn right on my street and immediately turn left into a cul-de-sac, parked in a stranger's driveway, shut off my car, everything, and just waited. My heart was fluttering like a bird. I felt like I could catch it. I could also know this taste in my mouth that tastes like copper to me, and the only time I get it is if I'm super mad and ready to explode from adrenaline. Then just like clockwork, I hear his car drive by, and it was driving all slow, looking for me. I have no idea who it was or why, but my assumption was that maybe an angry player from the place in which I worked? I don't know. As soon as the coast was clear, I jet back to my house just down the road. That night, after I ran into the house, my entire body started shaking and almost convulsing in fear. My 3 children were sleeping, and my husband was sleeping, but nobody knows what I just went through. Housekeeping Experience. Hello. I might get too much into personal details, but I live in the Midwest, 20-year-old female. I work at a casino in the housekeeping department. This happened about 2 days ago. I was cleaning a room on the 4th floor when an old man comes up and says his key card wasn't working. I told him he'd have to go to the front desk and get another key, but if he didn't want to help him, to come back and I'll open it for him. Now let me explain how the housekeeping works here. I clean a room. We have supervisors that come and double check our rooms to make sure we aren't missing anything. I was in my last room of the day. So anyways, 10 minutes later, he comes back and says, I got in, but I have no towels, which I found odd, because I did that room earlier. So I went over and sure enough, no towels. I tell him I'll be right back to bring him some. He replies, okay, I'm gonna get ready. Okay, I come back not even 5 minutes and knock on his door. Housekeeping, he answered with just his head peeked out. Door open enough to let me in. I walk inside, and he's completely naked. Only an olive green robe. Didn't look embarrassed. Didn't cover up. I looked straight to the ceiling and said, He says, oh, it's okay. I'll hide behind the door. One of the first rules when I got trained is to never go into a room by yourself. But he said he was hiding behind the door, so I thought he would leave it opened. I ran into the bathroom, started to put the towels on the rack, and then I heard it. The door closed. Now, I know a lot of people have been to hotels, and for those who haven't, doors automatically lock from the outside. You need a key card to get in. Right when I heard the door closed, I ran for it. I heard the old man say, Ma'am, I have a question for you. And all I said was okay and kept running. I went down the hall and found my supervisor and told her everything in which had happened. The next day, she looked in the room, and when he checked out, and couldn't find the towels in case he'd hit them. This may sound not creepy, maybe, just some silly old man, right? Hiding towels and stuff like that. That's what I thought until today. Another housekeeper found the towels in the room he was inside. He hid them under an extra pillow in the drawer. I don't know if this counts as let's not meet or anything like that, but that was the most terrifying experience I've ever been in. He could have done much more. We do have cameras and people watching us 24/7, but there are no cameras in the room. He could have locked the door and no one would have found me until it was too late. That's the one thing that gives me goosebumps. So, old naked dude, let's never meet again.